正解。
Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 100. Taking action for her. Jing Chuchu and Shen Miao left together but returned alone, and it seemed that it did not caught many people's attention. But in the evening, Shen Miao unprecedentedly came over to the side courtyard of Old Furens and personally talked to Jing Chuchu. Coincidentally, Jing Chuchu was playing with the jewelries on the table. Among them there was a jade bracelet that was exceptionally eye-catching, as the color was almost transparent and overall the entire piece of jade was in excellent grade. This piece of jade bracelet would at least required hundreds of liang to purchase, and Jing Chuchu definitely was unable to afford it. Furthermore, yesterday when Shen Miao was in Zhenbao, among the jewelry that was bought for Jing Chuchu, this jade bracelet was not among them. Shen Miao stared at that jade bracelet from the moment she entered the room, shocking Jing Chuchu so much that she quickly kept it in the box. Shen Miao gently smiled. Biao older sister's jade bracelet does not look to be of an ordinary grade. Jing Chuchu asked softly, "Does fifth younger sister know about this bracelet?" Had seen a similarly imported goods, but the color of it was not as good as yours. Even so, the initial price it was sold was at 500 liang, so Biao older sister's piece. One fear that it would require thousands of liang of silver before one can purchase it. Shen Miao casually said, even though this jade bracelet was precious, it was less than 2,000 liang of silver, and 2,000 liang of silver can purchase much better jewelry. But in Jing Chuchu's exposure, even if she were to exaggerate more, Jing Chuchu would still believe without a doubt. But Biao older sister, where does this precious jade bracelet come from? Shen Miao asked. Previously one did not see you wear it before. It is given from a friend. Jing Chuchu softly said. An understanding appeared in Shen Miao's eyes. Sun Qainan's ability to coax females was not only depending on putting on airs and using graceful words and flowery speech, he was also willing to drop money. Else the wife of the wealthy deputy general, Jing Chuchu in the past life, would not be a red apricot tree that leans over the garden wall, aka having an illicit lover, aka cheat. Only the first encounter and he had gifted such a big valuable. For Jing Chuchu, who had never seen the world, it was very difficult not to be tempted. It seemed that this friend treat Biao older sister very good. Shen Miao said. Jing Chuchu's face reddened as she looked towards Shen Miao. What is the matter fifth younger sister here for? Shen Miao slowly tidied up her clothes before saying, heard that Biao older sister was sent back by others? I met a good-hearted gentleman. Jing Chuchu was somewhat shocked. He has a good heart and I dare not refuse, but we have been abiding etiquette and keeping the distance. Biao older sister need not be nervous. Shen Miao slightly smiled. Does Biao older sister know who is that person? Jing Chuchu was surprised for a moment. Who? It is the only son of the Minister of Personnel, Sun Qainan. Shen Miao said. Jing Chuchu looked at Shen Miao with surprise in her eyes. Shen Miao sneered in her heart. Sun Yanjing was very strict with Sun Qainan, so even though Sun Qainan keep hooking females, he seldom revealed his identity unless it was to bring those young ladies back to the residence as concubines. Towards Jing Chuchu, most likely he did not reveal his true identity. Jing Chuchu most likely assumed that Sun Qainan was only a wealthy man's son, but now that she knew about Sun Qainan's real identity, how would Jing Chuchu, who clambered over the dragon and hanged on to a phoenix, let it go? Biao older sister should know that the Minister of Personnel is a very high official rank. Shen Miao gently smiled. Their residence is not inferior in any respect to ours. The most important thing is that Sun Darren have only one son, Gentleman Sunday. For such an identity, he actually send Biao older sister back to the residence. Could it be? Shen Miao lightly and casually sketched it out. He like Biao older sister a little. Fifth younger sister must not say nonsense. Jing Chuchu quickly retorted, but her cheeks instantly flushed and her eyes were somewhat erratic. Obviously Shen Miao's words had set off waves in her heart. She softly said, Gentleman Sun and I are innocent. I did not say that there is something between you. Shen Miao smiled. A fair and graceful lady is desired by gentlemen. Biao older sister is beautiful, thus it is only natural that gentleman's son's heart feel cheerful and committed. But gentleman's son is indeed a good person with a magnificent bearing and a wealthy family background. If whoever could be his wife, would be the matriarch of the entire Minister of Personnel's residence, since Sundaran only has this one-day son. Jing Chuchu pursed her lips and did not speak. Shen Miao stood up and smiled. I only came over to casually talk. Biao older sister should not take it to heart. In this world, one should probably look at fate. If there is such fate, then one cannot say for certain how it would be in the future. At that time Biao older sister would definitely stay in the Ding capital for the rest of the life. Finishing speaking, she turned around and left. Jing Chuchu sat in the room alone, and she unconsciously took that smooth jade bracelet from the box out and stroked the lines on top. She did not expect that Sun Kainan was the Minister of Personnel's son, and as to why he did not disclose his identity, most likely it was like how shows were written. He did not wish that someone would get close to him because of his family background. Did this not mean that Sun Kainan was sincere? Else why would he give a bracelet valued thousands of liang out in the first encounter? In all fairness, Jing Chuchu after all came from a small family, and even though she was sought after by many gentlemen back in Suzhou, those people's spending styles seemed minor compared to Sun Kainan. When she saw the Ding capital's bustle, she was even more reluctant to return back to Suzhou, and now Shen Miao's last sentence moved her heart. If she was able to marry to Sun Kainan, she would be able to stay in the capital for the rest of her life. But what about old Shen Furan? Outside, Shen Miao had stepped out of the courtyard when she encountered Jing Guansheng. When Jing Guansheng saw her, his eyes brightened as he said with a smile, Biao younger sister is here to see Chuchu. Shen Miao nodded her head. Now Biao younger sister is getting closer with Chuchu. Jing Guansheng wanted to come forward, but unfortunately Jing's and Gu Yu stepped up as if they were defending against lectures. Jing Guansheng was someone who flaunted himself as a cultured scholar and did not approach closer. It is no bother since it is all one family. Shen Miao gently smiled and headed out of the courtyard without looking at Jing Guansheng at all. Gu Yu softly asked, "Young lady is hopping to make Biao young lady with gentleman's son?" Shen Miao just now kept talking about Sun Kainan's good points, so when the two maids heard that, they found it particularly strange and felt that it was very similar to those matchmakers who come to visit. "Since when have you seen me being so kind?" Shen Miao said without any expression on her face. "Then why?" Gu Yu was even more puzzled. One have to let Biao older sister's heart up in a whirl. Shen Miao said with a bland smile, "Old Furan and Biao older sister previously had the same goal, so both of them were naturally close, but if what they seek is not the same, guess what will happen?" Jing suddenly got smart. "Dogfight." Then she suddenly recovered and panicked. "This servant is not saying that they are dogs. This servant do not know words." "What you said was not wrong," Shen Miao said. "The interpretation of a dogfight is apartment. In addition, on these few days, go to Rongjing Ting and build a relationship with Fu Er." "Fu Er?" Jing's was slightly surprised. "Old Furan want to marry her to the steward's son who is blinded in one eye." Shen Miao said, "Fu Er is very much unwilling to." "Heavens!" Jing's was stunned. Fu Er had followed old Furan since young. Why? Even if it was rearing cats or dogs, one would also have some feelings, so why would one marry a fine young female to a one-eyed person? Fu Er was efficient in her work, and even though she sounded fierce, she was very loyal to old Shen Furan. Old Shen Furan had gotten annual profit from the fields from the steward, so naturally one need to show some appreciation. Since she is not willing to come out with money, then she has to come out with people. One can only blame that Fu Er's fate is not good but was born well. "Then young lady plan to help Fu Er?" Gu Yu carefully asked, but a strange feeling appeared in her heart. Shen Miao was not very concerned about the people in Rongjing Ting and was not one who had a Buddha's heart, so it sounds impossible for her to help Fu Er. "Of course help," Shen Miao said in a calm and composed manner. Every single mistake old Furen made is our opportunity. Young lady want to bribe Fu Er? Jings asked, but will Fu Er be willing to be bribed? Fu Er has always been the most loyal to old Furen. If a loyal heart is not reciprocated, then the rebound would be even bigger. Only when the dog raised by the side go crazy, then it would be the most painful bite to the owner. Shen Miao lightly said. For several days, the calm in the Shen residence arrived, and Jing Chuchu no longer swinged by the western courtyard, but often brought a few guards from the Shen residence out to shop, saying that she wanted to see the bustle in the Ding capital. Naturally no one stopped her, and as for the people in the western courtyard, they could not wait for Jing Chuchu to go out every day so that the guards at the western courtyard could also relax a little. But what Jing Chuchu was wearing was getting more expensive day by day. Even though old Shen Furen gave some money to the Jing siblings, she was after all naturally stingy and would not give too much. Jing Chuchu dressed up so richly that even Shen Yu felt surprised, but when she asked, Jing Chuchu said that it was bought from the money she brought from home. Even Jing Guanxing's hands loosened and gave more rewards to the servants in the Shen residence. Everyone said that it was because the Jing siblings had come to the Ding capital and were exposed to the world. Thus they now concealed the habits of a small family and become more like the people in the Ding capital. The more comfortable the Jing siblings lived, the more there would be someone in the residence that was not very comfortable. In Rongjing Tang, old Shen Furen looked at Jing Chuchu in front and her eyes flashed. Chuchu, lately how are you living? Is there anything that you are not used to after arriving here? Replying on old Furen's fortune, Chuchu is living very well. Jing Chuchu said. Since you are living very well, then why is the medication package not used till now? Old Shen Furen's pair of triangular eyes were staring straight at Jing Chuchu, and her voice was very heavy that for those who were timid, would have been frightened to tears with her fierceness. Jing Chuchu however lowered her head and her voice did not even change. Old Furen, Chuchu cannot even get closer to be our older brother and could not find any opportunity at all. Old Shen Furen had very early on passed the medication package to Jing Chuchu so that she could find an opportunity to drug Shen Kaiyu. But who knew that after so many days the Shen residence was calm and quiet, as Jing Chuchu did not even took action. You kept going out and only returned to the residence at night. It would be strange if one is able to find an opportunity. Old Shen Furen could not help but sneer. Chuchu, are you willing or not? If you are not willing, then let the matter be. It is not that Chuchu is not willing. Jing Chuchu quickly said. These days she had gone out daily to privately meet up with Sun Kainan. She pretended not to know Sun Kainan's identity, and Sun Kainan treated her tenderly and gifted her clothes and jewelry. It was because Sun Kainan gave her all these things that made Jing Chuchu's heart hesitate. Compared to Shen Kaiyu, who would be going to the bitter cold northwestern region the entire year, it was definitely more comfortable to marry to Sun Kainan. But whether Sun Kainan was willing to marry her was another problem. Jing Chuchu kept on clinging to her innocence because she knew the male's disease. By letting them see but unable to touch, feel but unable to eat but unable to fill full, then one could capture a man's heart. She indeed made Sun Kainan so fascinated with her. But Sun Kainan was the Minister of Personnel's son, and she was from a small family, so even if Sun Kainan liked Shen Tianjing would not agree, and she was not willing to be Sun Kainan's concubine. So Jing Chuchu hesitated. If it was with Shen Kaiyu, old Shen Furen could guarantee that she would be Shen Kaiyu's official wife. But Sun Kainan treated her gently and was generous. The human's heart was always greedy and would not be able to settle for less, eating from the bowl but looking at the pot. Jing Chuchu was unable to make the decision, thus she did not drug Shen Kaiyu. She had not taken action for so long, and old Shen Furen was already anxious, so she called her over to ask about it. Since you are willing, then why the hesitation? Old Shen Furen asked. Chuchu want to ensure that it is foolproof before taking action. Moreover, the western courtyard is guarded very tightly, thus it is hard for Chuchu to find an opportunity. If one were to inadvertently alert them, then it would be even harder to take action again. Chuchu, I do like you. Old Shen Furen slowly said. But if you continue to be like this, I will be disappointed with your timidity. One fear that it would be difficult to succeed in the future. Jing Chuchu lowered her head and agreed. Old Shen Furen looked at her and seemed to be somewhat loathing and said, "You can go out." Jing Chuchu hastened her steps to withdraw. After Jing Chuchu had left, with a paw sound, old Shen Furen had smashed the cup in front of her and said angrily, "That thing cannot be seen in public." As Zhang Mama instructed the servant to pick up the broken pieces from the floor, she was comforting softly, "Old Furen need not be anxious. Most likely the young lady is really timid and there would be some qualms for a female to do such a thing." "How can I not be anxious?" Old Shen Furen was flustered and exasperated. Your Honor had already said yesterday that the eldest one family had been looking at young ladies for Shen Kaiyu. And if that is really settled, then there will not be any possibility to take any action in the future. I initially thought that Jing Chuchu was ambitious, so I lent a helping hand, but who knows, that mud could not hold up the wall. Zhang Mama helped old Shen Furen to breath by patting her chest. "The young lady is young of age. Moreover, what the young lady said has some logic to it. Now eldest master's family is up in guards, and if it is not carried out well, it will be like beating the grass and alarming the snake. It would be bad to tear all faces." "Then you say what can be done?" Old Shen Furen said in a bad mood, "Now that it is urgent and that girl is not willing to take action, one cannot just look with wide-eyed as Shen Kaiyu marry a noble young lady, right?" "Old Furen," Zhang Mama deeply pondered, "the young sister is young and it would be a bit dangerous for her to do it. So why not let us get our people to do it instead?" "Our people?" Old Shen Furen looked towards her. "Correct," Zhang Mama said. "Naturally our people would be able to take care of things better than the young lady. At that time, even if any matters goes wrong, one can still push the young lady out and leave a route to retreat." But thinking about it, there would not be any problem as these servants are already familiar with this, and one think that it will be as easy as turning a hand. Old Shen Furen's eyes slightly moved and she was silent for a moment before suddenly speaking. "What you said is also not wrong. Since that girl dare not take action, then let other help her. Go and call Fu and Zai in." The change in Rong Jingting's view was naturally not known to anyone, but whether the people who knew would speak about it was another matter. From the surface, everything proceeded in a well-organized manner. On this day, when Shen Miao was returning to the western courtyard from outside, she encountered Shen Yuan. Ever since the Jing siblings arrived in Shen residence, no one knew what Shen Yuan was busy with, that one did not see him around much. Upon returning to the Ding capital, he left early and returned late in the day, making Shen Gui unhappy as he thought that Shen Yuan was purposely avoiding him because of Ren Wanyun's matter. He had quarreled a few times with Shen Yuan and always parted on bad terms. However, these quarrels did not affect Shen Yuan as he still did not appear in the residence as before. At the end they encountered here. Seeing Shen Miao, Shen Yuan slowed down his steps and said, "Fifth younger sister, second older brother. Heard that lately fifth younger sister is rather close with the younger brother and the younger sister." Shen Yuan smiled as he spoke. "Is this coming back from the younger brothers?" He unexpectedly mentioned about Jing Guansheng as if implying that there was something between Shen Miao and Jing Guansheng. Beilu's and Shuang Jiang's brows furrowed as they found that Shen Yuan's words were not good to listen. Shen Miao glanced at Shen Yuan and did not answer his words. It seemed like second older brother just returned from second Shen's. One heard that lately second Shen's crazy fits has reduced a lot. Is it that she would recover soon? Ren Wanyun had not appeared for a long time and all big and small matters were handed over to Wan Yinayang to manage. Old Shen Furen, who usually was not satisfied with Wan Yinayang, did not say anything about it, so the people of the Shen residence were well aware that it was not possible for Ren Wanyun to be able to live as grandly as the first half of her life. Moreover, Ren Wanyun's maiden family was only a wealthy merchant, and no matter how much money they had, there was no power and could not help in anything. Shen Yuan's face paused and sized her up before smiling. "Fifth younger sister recently look much better. Is it that there are any happy event nearer?" Because of Shin Zin's and wife's return, Shen Kaiyu had been daily paying particularly attention to Shen Miao. Now Shen Miao was no longer that slow and prudent young girl and has now superior manners and looked much better in appearance. At least she would not be ignored anywhere she was placed. How would I have any happy event? On the contrary, with second older brother's busy appearance, perhaps a happy event is nearing. Shen Miao answered. Hearing that, there was look of what could be considered as happiness that surfaced on Shen Yuan's face. He said, "Oh, it was seen?" One often felt that previous days were troubled with bad luck, but lately second older brother is thinking of ways to disperse them. Now that things are getting smooth, most likely one would feel happy. He then looked at Shen Miao meaningfully. But fifth younger sister need not be unduly humble, as I see that fifth younger sister's good news is almost here. Shen Miao did not speak, so Shen Yuan cupped his hands and said, "One still have some matters and will not talk more with fifth younger sister. Will be taking one's leave." Finishing speaking, he strode away. Beilu angrily said, "This second young master is really not polite at all." Those cynical words he used. Everyone could hear the hostility Shen Yuan had with Shen Miao. Shen Miao's brows were tightly knitted as she looked at Shen Yuan's back without speaking. "Young lady?" Xuang Zhang asked worriedly. Shen Miao said, "He is being somewhat strange." Shen Miao was very clear about Shen Yuan and did not underestimate him. He might look indifferent to the matters in the residence but was in fact the most truthless one. Now Shen Miao could be sure that Shen Kaiyu's ending in the previous life was definitely related to Shen Yuan. Even though Shen Yuan did not know that Shen Miao had made inversion plans on some matters, but the words just time seemed to have leaked some information that Shen Yuan still had plans behind. Why not let guard Mo to follow second young master? Xuang Zhang proposed. Not needed. Mo King does not have that ability. Shen Miao shook her head. There was no need to fear Fu Ziyu Yi, but one must be careful with the people behind him. She said, "Wait and observe." Upon returning to the western courtyard and just as she stepped into the room, one was able to see Gu Yu and Gings anxiously waiting in the room. Once they saw Shen Miao return, Gu Yu quickly closed the doors and pulled Shen Miao to the couch to sit down before Jing softly said, "Young lady, Rong Jing Tang's Fu'er has passed the information over." "What is it?" Shen Miao asked. "Old Furen intends to personal take action and arrange it to happen in 2 days later." Jins said angrily, "Old Furen is really too bad." Master and Furen had treated her well, but she actually schemed against young master. And that be a young lady. One can already tell that she is not a good person, but did not know that she was that shameless. "All right." Gu Yu interrupted her. "Young lady, what do we do now?" "Why is it 2 days later?" Shen Miao asked. "There is a family banquet 2 days later and just nice second Furen's friends want to come over to pay a visit to second Furen." Jings did not finish speaking, but the meaning behind was without a doubt. That old Shen Furen want to take advantage of the number of people to slander Shen Kaiyu taking Jing Chuchu's innocence, and take account for it in front of everyone. How could Shen Kaiyu decline it? The exactly same means as in the past life, with the rebirth. Old Shen Furen's tactics were still not at all high. "So be it. Instruct Fu'er this." Shen Miao beckoned over and Jings leaned forward as Shen Miao said a few words by her ears. "But someone is still required to monitor." Shen Miao said, "This matter cannot go wrong. This servant understand." Eagerness flashed in Jings's eyes. "This servant will definitely do it well." Shen Miao gently smiled. "This is a good matter. Do not let others smash the matter up. There would be retribution when one destroy others' marriage." She stretched her hands and reached out for the teacup before lightly tapping it. She looked calm, as if she was one who was higher up. In the night, a few hundred li, 1 li equals 500 meters, away from the Ding capital in a manor, there sat a person in the main hall. The people who were standing in the hall were all clad in black and long boots. Their uniform appearance along with their imposing manner were shocking. The leader cupped his hands and said, "This subordinate is not good at handling the work." The information was transmitted back. "May master punish." "All right." The youth who was sitting at the main hall lazily waved his hands. He was wearing a purple robe with gold thread embroidered patterns of dragons on the ends of the robes. Under the lights, those golden dragons seemed to want to fly off from between the purple clouds. He was playing with a female hairpin and had a handsome and charming face. That even with a devilish smile on his face, he seemed to be a noble gentleman from a great family who came out to play. But if one were to look carefully, in that pair of peach flower-shaped eyes, they were deeply filled with wine but was like ice and snow, without a trace of emotions. You all cannot conceal it up. Zi Jingxing said, I did not intend to hide it. It is just to strive for more time. Since the information has been transmitted back then, time is even tighter now, Master. The leader of the black-clad people frowned. The matters of the Ding capital has yet to be managed well, and now with the pressing time, what does Master intend to do? Do not leave any potential problems. Firstly, he looked at the side while pondering before casually saying, find a time to settle Zi Changwu and brother. Zi Changwu and Zi Changjiao still had half of the same blood flowing in them, but from how Zi Jingxing spoke, there was no trace of hesitation, as if he was dealing with a stranger, like a cat or dog in general. Master? The black-clad person was surprised for a moment before asking hesitantly, for so many years. Why, Master? Previously was too lazy to manage, but now both of them are going beyond their bounds. Zi Jingxing said, if they are not wiped out, I will not feel relieved when I go. But Marquis Zi had already entered them into officialdom. The black-clad person said, these days the two brothers keep close to Marquis Zi, and one had heard that Marquis Zi had already introduced them to his official colleagues and told them to look after them. It is not difficult to take action, but it would alarm others. Zi Ding, that fool. Zi Jingxing's expression got darker and his tone had some fury. Unable to accomplish anything but more than enough to spoil everything. His subordinates were not the slightest surprise when he directly called out the Marquis of Linen's name as if this was a natural matter. The black-clad person lightly coughed and said, it is because Master delayed into entering officialdom and Marquis Zi fear that there would be no successor, so he let both of them hold the position first. It was not the first or second day of Zi Jingxing's stubborn and obstreperous temperament, so it seemed that Zi Ding was truly helpless with this, else no matter how biased the Marquis of Linen was, he would not have given up on Zi Jingxing, and let Zi Changyu and brother take over his mantle. Never mind. Zi Jingxing knitted his brows. Postpone the matter on the Marquis of Linen residence. At the princess residence side, send people to secretly protect Princess Rongzin. Master. The black-clad person hesitated, as if he was determined, and said callously, since in the future it would be as so, it is better to now draw a line to the relationship with Princess Rongzin. Since when is it your turn to teach me to do things? Zi Jingxing lightly swept his eyes towards him, and he immediately remained silent and felt a chill covering his entire back. In the next moment, a voice above his head sounded, the things I do is my business and it is her business if she appreciate it. I have already done the utmost duty. The words contained a faint indifference and ruthlessness, coupled with his handsome face. It made one shudder in fear. He stood up and the edge of his robes were slightly wavering, and in the movement of gold light he said, do as planned. When in the Ding capital striving for time, one heard that Shen Yuan had already collected almost all of the evidence. The black-clad person spoke, one feared that once the year reopened, Shen Yuan would be able to completely consolidate the evidence, and at that time the Shen family will become the first one to suffer. Very good. Zi Jingxing shrugged his shoulders, if Shen Yuan have any difficulties, help him secretly. But Shen Yuan is Prince Ding's people. The black-clad person reminded, I certainly know that he is Prince Ding's people. Zi Jingxing waved his hands, I only let the Shen family help us do some blocking,